Good people.
All right, so we are live now. I'm going to give people just a quick minute to get in.
Yes, yes.
I'm going to get set. Let me go to the live. So, Chrissy, are you like sitting in the car?
I am. I got about a 15-minute commute.
Oh, okay. So we are going to get started. So people are starting to come in. I'm trying to see, log on now onto Facebook. I probably should go home. Of course, I'm not able to see what I'm going on. All right. So, can you guys hear me? Can you all hear us? Can we get like a thumbs up or something to let us know if you can hear? Okay, good. Well, you can be on it, so. Okay. So just in case people come on, how many people we got now?
Five.
Five.
Come on.
Okay. Ain't you? Them church people. Them church people. Okay, I don't even think I need this. So, welcome everybody. We have another episode here. This is your favorite family member, Uncle Mike. And I'm so excited again to bring to you another episode of Let's Talk About It. On the podcast where we talk about any and everything, intelligent dialogue, where we have good discussion about topics that people do not always feel comfortable to talk about, or they have a lot to talk about, and sometimes we really want to hear what they're saying about the topic. But this is the place to come and let your voice be heard. Everyone has a voice here. So on today's panel with me, again, I told you that I always have alternate co-hosts with me and people who come on, people who I respect, people who definitely can bring the topic to life and have some definitely influence on the topic that we'll be discussing. So right here I have my nephew, brother. This is Jerel Duren, CSU. Of course, we went to school together. I like raised him. When he got in there, all the bad habits, though, he didn't get from me. So, welcome, Jerel, to Let's Talk About It.
Hey, y'all, what's going on?
So right over here, we have Jon Allen Hicks. Jon Allen Hicks actually went to Wilberforce. When we are on campus, we don't like each other. Yeah. But when we come off, we all family. We all get along with each other. We all make sure that everybody is straight. Yeah. So, and if you didn't know, Jon is a minister. So, those questions that you have that you want to ask as a minister, you can definitely come into the comments and let us know. We have Chrissy. I'm showing the phone. Of course, you can't see it, but on the phone, we have Christina Turner, who is, again, from Central State University. We actually came in together. We were part of the Gabbana family or something like that. What was it? It was something like that. So, Chrissy, you want to say a couple things? And also, let us know if y'all can hear Chrissy on live. Just say, yes, we can hear Chrissy, or she needs to be a little bit closer. You want to say something, Chrissy? All right.
Hey, how you doing today?
Perfect.
Happy Good Friday.
Happy Good Friday. So it's so ironic that we are talking about this topic on Good Friday.
I was wondering if you did this on purpose.
I really didn't. I really didn't. It was God. It's the God in me.
It's
the God in me. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to get started. So the topic of this podcast or episode is called Wake Up Church. When I first thought about this topic, I wanted to just have basically like, talk about why men don't go to church. And talking about why men don't go to church, I thought of a number of things as far as like, that we associate the church with being over feminine. Yeah, that's how you say it. Associate the church with being just female driven. Really, when you see, sometimes when people see men in worship or exalting, God, it just doesn't look right. It's more of what we expect for a woman to be doing. Just what we have seen in church thus far, as far as my personal opinion. And you have, of course, have some strong men in church, and then as far as you see pastors, it's always a male-driven thing. So I don't quite understand why that is the impression when most pastors are men, most musicians are men. Not to say that all musicians are men, but again, you see that a lot. So we are going to come and we're going to talk about just some of the topics or some of the statements that you guys brought to me when I was researching this topic. So I'm going to read something from Facebook, and then I'm going to have each of my co-hosts definitely give me their opinion on what was said. So basically, I put up a post, and it was about why people don't go to church, why people stop going to church. A number of people reached out. One of the very interesting posts, and it was actually the last post, it said was from a guy that I went to high school with, his name Corey. He said, the old ways of the church don't work. We need church reform just like we need education reform. We only need churches that are active in the community and transparent with what they spend the congregation's money on. A lot of times the church only serves the members and barely them. So, Chris, I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor right now, ladies' choice. What do you think about that?
I agree that the church does need to be reformed. I noticed that back in the day, church was more looked at as, a place where everybody could gather for social reasons, for political reasons, for for various different types of reasons, people would gather at the church, not just for a place of worship. And I think nowadays, with technology being so advanced, and the fact that at our fingertips there is a lot more resources where we can gain knowledge from, I think that a lot of people are just being turned on to the truth. And I think that, especially to millennials, our generation, younger generation, we're just becoming more and more advanced as far as the information that we are gaining, and it's just not reflecting on our beliefs or what our principles are. And I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for myself, and I completely agree. I'm not opposed to church, but I certainly do not really go to church anymore, and it's because of that very thing. I haven't found a place of worship where I feel like it tailors to the truth, quote unquote. And so I would agree with that statement. I think that it does need to be reformed.
Okay. I'm writing down notes as you're talking because I'm going to come back and I'm going to ask you some questions about that. John, you want to go ahead and give your opinion on that post?
I completely agree. But I think I agree from...
And this is a minister.
I think I agree from...
I want to know.
My perspective on where I agree from is I think the church does need to be reformed. But I think it needs to be reformed in the sense that we go back to what it needs to be about in the first place. Mm-hmm. As Christians, the church should be about Christ being at the epicenter of everything that we do. Mm-hmm. Everything else is kind of ribbons and bows beyond that. But if Christ isn't in the middle of it, then what are we doing? And why are we doing it? I think a lot of times in churches, we try so hard to attract that we become more theater than church. And we lose.
You said theater?
More theater than church.
Okay.
Yes. So we lose the essence of who we're supposed to be as Christians because we're trying so hard to bring people in, and we're trying to do what everyone else does. But the Bible says that all we're supposed to do is lift up Christ, and He'll draw. It's not even our responsibility to do the drawing in the first place. It's just our job to lift up Christ. So the reform, in my eyes, needs to be, we have to strictly 100% keep everything about Christ.
Okay. Jerel, what you got?
I think definitely. I think I can definitely agree with the folks too. One of the things I think about a lot is he used the word reform. I think in terms of evolution, how the church has to be willing to evolve. I think one of the major problems is we see evolution as an attack on tradition, and so that pushes people away. You know what I mean? Because the church has to evolve. The church has to keep up with times. You hear people say stuff like, well, God doesn't change. Like, He doesn't, but we certainly should. We should be evolving. We should be changing to effectively minister. Minister being meeting the needs of people. You know what I mean? So I think as far as me and my personal journey, I'm looking to see more true ministry, not just coming to church and Bible study and singing some songs, true impactful ministry, meeting the needs of people inside the church, outside the church, like you were saying. So I definitely agree. I think there has to be some growth, there has to be some evolution, and it shouldn't be looked at as an attack on tradition. Right? And certainly certain traditions should, be changed and be evolved, because that's the nature of us as human beings. We grow, we evolve, we learn. Things have to change. You can't stay stagnant. If you stay stagnant, you'll die. So, yeah.
Okay, and Chris, don't forget to join in whenever you feel like it. But I hear a lot of us saying that when we're talking about evolving, and we're talking about as far as how church should be a progression, I'm with that as well. But I believe nowadays, the world is so wicked and in need of a church, and that the things that people become very, very lazy, and they let certain things pass, that it pushes people away. When we say transform, because, for instance, we often talk about, again, homosexuality in a church. We say the church said we want everybody. We want to bring everybody here. But then you have some churches, again, who praise the flamboyant male choir director. Then you have some churches who would sit the flamboyant choir director down because of, this is not what Christ represents. If this is not what Christ represents as far as being able to love everyone, then what is the point of the church?
I think people, first of all, you have to have your own personal relationship. You have to find out what it is that you believe independently, you know what I mean? And then you can find a place to build on that foundation. Because every church has its own doctrine, meaning its own set of rules, its own sets of beliefs, and generally they're based around the same sort of biblical principles, or should be at least. But every church has its own separate doctrine, you know what I mean? So you have to follow your convictions, you know what I mean? So if a church is saying something or doing something that you can't be in agreement with, don't let that be a representation for every church or every Christian experience, you know what I mean? I definitely believe in having your own sort of personal convictions and following those. So if something about a gay choir director just really grinds your gears, you should do some introspective work to find out why. And if that's something that's happening at the church that you're at, then maybe you want to investigate somewhere else and go somewhere else. You know what I mean? But I can't tell anybody what they believe is wrong. You know what I mean? But I know what I personally believe, and I have to go and seek something and act that.
Well, were you about to say something, Chrissy?
No, I was agreeing with Jerel on to the religion in different denominations and what their rules of order are, or what they believe is right for them to preach and teach in the church. And I think that, like, I'm sorry, what's the other gentleman on the panel?
John.
Yes, so I was agreeing with him as far as we need to get back to it being about Christ. And too often, it's just the focus of condemning, and it's the focus of, fear of if you don't do this right, you don't do that right, you're going to hell. And that evokes a lot of fear. And I think that's also another reason why so many young people are so turned off to church and to go to church, because it's this fear that is, put in us to believe that, well, if I'm not living right, then, then I'm not going to be able to go to heaven. Or if I'm not living right, then I'm not, what's the point of going to church if I want to be able to do this and be able to do that and be able to live my life a certain way? And I think that if the church gets back to teaching that spiritual maturity is really about growing, it's not about being a certain way, it's about growing, it's about realizing your flaws and working towards living in that path of grace.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think that if the church can get back to that, or if the church can be back to that way of thinking and that way of living, then I think it would draw more people to it. So yeah, I was agreeing with both of what you, with all of what you were saying. But as far as, the question about the homosexuality, like, I agree. If somebody and how they choose to live their life is bothering you, then you need to reconsider some things within yourself, because that's not what God is about. He's a God of compassion, he's a God of love, and he's going to love people for who they are. So.
Okay, you want to touch on it, John?
Which part?
Either or.
Okay. Above all else, I believe that the church needs to have integrity. The church as a whole needs to have integrity. Now, we keep using this word, the church, when, man, the truth is God sees one church. But when we just look at the world as a whole and the bodies as a whole, there are multiple churches who believe very different things. Some churches are very traditional in their beliefs, and they are what they are. And I'm going to say this very honestly and very matter-of-factly. People who have a more progressive mindset shouldn't go to those churches. Period. If you don't want your feelings hurt, and if you don't want to be in a place where you're going to be judged starkly, my advice to you as a minister, do not go to those churches because they are going to be who they are, period. In the same way, if I was, when I teach at a school, when you have kids who constantly talk about other kids, tell my kids, listen, that's what they do. Stay away from them. If it bothers you so much, how about you not go around them? Then you'll never have to hear what they say. How about you hang around people who are more closely to your views and the way you see things? Then maybe you'll be a little happier. So I see it no differently in some of the separate congregations that we have. Even here in Detroit,
church capital.
It's believe me, it's quite a few of them.
They say in Detroit you have a liquor store, a Coney Island, and a church on every other corner.
Listen, I've learned that the hard way. It's quite a few of them. It's a lot. But I think that's what I'm saying. I still believe that there should be a level of integrity, and by integrity I mean we have to mean what we say and say what we mean. Now, obviously, there are going to be some churches who are completely against homosexuality and are not going to be okay with it being flaunted in the church. Let me say it like that. Here's where it becomes an issue for me. When we as a church, we as a people, administratively in the church, when we will utilize people who are homosexuals for financial gain. And then have the nerve to still condemn them on the other side. Now, I take personal issue with that, because if we're going to condemn them, then let's leave it there. Let's not use them for our own financial gain.
Yeah.
Like because now we become the hypocrite.
Tyrese can direct the choir.
Right, like, now
Tyrese go direct the choir is good.
Like, so, I think the needs, like, to me, when we do stuff like that, we lack integrity. Like, there's no, there is no, we are what we are. There is no, I mean, if we're going to be Christian, and if you're saying that this is what a Christian is, then stand by that. And I would never disagree with someone who stands by what they believe.
So this is to everybody on the panel. Is the role of the Christian defined? Like, is it that, because, we all here in church, somebody should be able to look at you, and see that you're a Christian. What is that line? What is the way that we come? My brother is here. What is the way? What is the way that we say to people, thank you. My brothers have come in by the time.
I'm here.
What is the
Fresh
way
out of
that...
jail, by the way. Fresh out of jail.
Jesus.
Lose my train of thought.
You was asking what, like, is there a one definition?
Yeah, is there one definition of what is a Christian? Of course, when I walk out on the street, I want someone to be able to be like, he has morals and standards and values, but is that always easy?
No, the thing is that I want to go back to the personal relationship thing. It's about you as a person. What might convict me isn't necessarily going to convict you or convict you. You know what I mean? Because I have a personal relationship. We all aren't the same. You know what I mean? God hasn't called us to all do the same thing.
Yeah.
He hasn't called us to be all the same people and walk the same journey. You know what I mean? So I think it was Paul that was saying, I'd rather y'all just not get married. You know what I mean? So y'all can just do the work of the Lord all the time.
Yeah.
Like that was his mandate, but that's not my mandate. You know what I mean? So it's not going to look the same. Everybody's walk's not going to look the same because we haven't all had the same experiences. We haven't had the same life. I think it's important to just be who you are, you know what I mean, and grow in that space. Don't worry about what it looks like to somebody else or what you think or what somebody's telling you it should look like. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because I promise you, I've had more godly conversations in a bar sitting next to a stranger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because I think we try to prop ourselves up with this sort of fake, or maybe fake is the best word, or maybe
I know.
sort of,
yeah.
you know what I mean, confidence as if, we are so such and much, but that's the exact opposite of what people need, you know what I mean? In fact, how many times in the Bible does it talk about Jesus actually being in a church, or doing something in the church, you know what I'm saying? I think one time I can recall he was in there flipping over the tables, you know what I'm saying? So it's not about that, it's about the true heart of people. And I'm sorry to ramble a little bit.
No, I get you. I get you. You want to go ahead, Chrissy, or?
I was just, once again, agreeing with the fact that those things are, like I said, spiritual maturity, and like Jerel said, evolution, and being able to just grow and have that personal spiritual relationship. And I do think that, I'll speak for myself and in my own experience, I was blessed to be able to see as an example from my parents. I come from a very religious family, but also a very spiritual family. And what I mean by that is, yes, I grew up in the church, but at the same time, I was used to seeing my mother worship in the house, seeing my parents wake up for their own Bible study at 5:30 a.m. Like, I was used to seeing that type of spiritual relationship with God, where they practice that on their own. And so because of that, I'm able to adopt that into my own personal relationship with God. And I think a lot of people don't know how to do that outside of the church.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people use, well, I got to go to church to get right. I got to go to church for, to feel that I'm close to God. I got to go to church. And it's not, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing or a good thing. I'm just saying that we have to learn how to develop that own personal relationship, that one-on-one with God, that abiding with God is what He truly wants from us. And it's not just about going to a building with a group of people
I agree, and I think what you're hitting on too, about that personal piece, that'll also prevent people from being so church or suffering so much from church. Because when you realize that, you know what I mean, my relationship with God is about me, and not about my pastor, my bishop, my first lady, my whoever, you know what I mean? So when they do something human,
wrapped up, right?
you know what I mean? When they do something human, when they show themselves to be normal people, then you're not caught off guard, you're not surprised, you're not so hurt, because your relationship and your faith isn't based on that individual, you know what I mean? Because everybody's human, everybody's, you know what I mean? It's not going to be such a scandal when Bishop get caught with the sister that's on the second pew, you know what I mean? Because he's human, you know what I mean? But you also, that's also a responsibility on pastors and people to let them know that I'm not the one, I'm not the person, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you are shown to be human, you are shown to be flawed, it's not such a huge deal, it's not such a huge scandal. I mean, you know, everybody has a certain mantle and, you know what I mean, expectation, you know, but at the end of the day, you know what I mean?
And what's crazy, and I'm gonna let you go, John. What's crazy about that is though, like when people in the church, when they do fall from glory, you know, as they say, when they fall from glory, I know, right? People like they're ready to like throw stones, and like I ain't judging, but look at the way you live in. You know, look at the way you live in. But because this person is perceived to be a pastor and perceived to be better than, or because they're on a praise team, that's when my ship always tell me, "Are you on a praise team when you do that?" But you know, like we're all human and we're all supposed to be, as you said before, progressing to be better than, first of all, from what we see, and I'll just leave it at that. From what we see, go ahead. Dan.
Well, let me say real quick. Hello, wife, who I see who's watching me.
Hey.
Hello there. I'm still a Baptist preacher. I must acknowledge my wife. That is proper protocol. So hello there.
First Lady Adam.
I think. Well, not that I think I know. And let me not say all preachers or all pastors or all, but quite a few, like enough where a precedent has been set. We made the mistake of, like I said before, not lifting up Christ. Instead, we've lifted up self. And that's why when we do fall, that's why we fall so heavily. Because we've spent so much time lifting ourselves up instead of Christ, that when we do make a mistake, our fall is epic. When it never should have been, because it never should have been us who was in a high place in the beginning. It should have always been Christ. So,
I just think that even though like a pastor may understand that, but I don't know what it would take for the person that's sitting in the congregation who, first of all, walk is not as strong as Mother Sue in the back that's been in church her whole life. Like, how do they distinguish that, okay, when I perceive you to be a certain way and you're not that, then it's okay. You know, what do I do?
This has always been my rule. There should be a level of transparency while still a level of distance.
Okay.
Meaning, how can I say this the right way? Meaning, I should be able to speak openly to the fact that yes, while I'm a preacher, yes, I am called to minister the word of God. Yes, I am a man of God. Yes, I'm pastoring. Yes, I'm leading these people. God has put this on my life to do this. But yes, I'm also a human. But yes, I'm still a man. And before I was even called, I was a man. I still have all these feelings and urges of a man. Same urges that I go through, that man goes through. Wait for it. Jesus went through it too. There should be a level of transparency, while at the same time, my transparency shouldn't lead others to sin.
Right.
Because yes, do my urges get handled? Yes, but I am married.
Yeah.
So it is not fornicating.
Yeah.
Like, so there needs to still be a level of distance where I can't talk about what I do with my wife.
Yeah.
But it still needs to be understood.
that it
Man,
happens.
yeah, this is something that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually having a similar conversation with my brother. We were talking about drinking. Like, it's not a sin for me to go out and have a drink. But he was saying, well, imagine somebody that you know that following your walk has a struggle with drinking, and they seen you, my brother does.
Okay.
And they see you drinking. You know what I mean? Now you've led them. And I went right back to you have to be accountable for your walk. And I think even as, you know what I mean, as baby Christians, you got to be taught that what's good for the goose isn't always good for the gander. You know what I mean? What I can do, you can't do. I'm not advocating saying, you know what I mean, if you're in that sort of position, you should just drink away with somebody who's struggling with alcohol. But if you teach people, you know what I mean, that your convictions are your convictions and you follow those convictions, and you can't always put that onto other people, you know what I mean? Then you wouldn't have so much of that. You wouldn't have so much of, oh, I saw such and such at the club. I mean, well, you did too. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not convicted. You're convicted. You know what I'm saying? Like, leave me alone. Like,
I remember when one night I had went to the casino. Went to the casino. I know.
at the casino.
I went to the casino and I was and I seen a pastor there, right? But again, I'm not always the one to like judge. I'm not always the one to like judge where we have to like be, well, you know, you can't be here because you this and you're that.
Yeah.
But so I told someone at the church that I seen them there. Not like that I was telling or anything, but I just told them that I seen them there, and then you know, they asked them about it, and they like denied it. Like the pastor denied that they were at the casino. And to be honest, like I only had seen them in the food court. You know, so it wasn't like that I seen them.
Michael, you're a liar.
Right. It wasn't like that I had seen them.
You see me in those.
Yeah, you know, not that I had seen them shooting. I just seen them in the food court.
Even if I was, mind your business.
Yeah.
Can I speak to that?
Yes, you can.
Very quickly. Okay. Now, again, coming from the preacher-minister perspective.
Okay.
As a preacher and as someone who advocates for other preachers, I understand that there is a level that we should not and cannot allow other people to see.
Yeah.
Like, if I could just be very transparent, there are things like, because the reality is, say maybe someone sees me sipping a small glass of wine. Them seeing me do that could lead to them becoming an alcoholic.
Is that your fault though?
Is it my fault? No. But could I have played a role? Yes. And so as a man of God, do I have to give up on things that I might like for the sake of all these people who God called me to lead? Yes. Yes, there has to be yes. So that's why I take it very seriously when I say there has to be a level of integrity in the pulpit. We have to remember, God didn't just call us just to preach. He called us to lead people. So there are things that I just cannot do.
Yeah. Okay.
I
can't. Like, or I'm sorry.
So what do you think about pastors like this pastor that has no pulpit now?
Oh yeah, the preacher pastor, that's my dog. I don't know his name, that's my dog.
My take, okay. Again, I'm gonna answer this question.
don't know if y'all heard, but Chrissy asked, like, what do we think about, or what does John think about, based on his statement about preachers who like cuss in the pulpit, or preachers who say that they have the right. I seen the one where the pastor had his head on his breast, and he was like, you know, I'm a man and I like breast. You know, and he said he was single. So I'm waiting for this answer to the question. And John, not to ever feel like that you're put on front and that you're speaking for all pastors.
John likes breasts too?
Right.
I'm married. I must have some sort of affinity towards them. On a personal level, I will be very transparent when I say, if we're talking about the cussing pastor, I cringe when I see him.
I do too.
I cringe. Like,
I do too.
now, do I get that there is an audience that he can reach because of what he does? Yes.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's an audience that I could probably never touch that he can touch because of his presentation,
His delivery.
because of his delivery. And that's awesome. Whatever it takes that gets you to Christ, amen. Whatever starts it for you, God bless you. Like, but on a personal level, yes, it makes me cringe. Absolutely. Like, because I always wonder, like, in the back of my mind, will this one small anthill lead to a mountain?
Yeah. And that's
we have to ask that.
That's very progressive in the idea that you can realize that this isn't for me, but it may work for somebody. A lot of people, and I think that's a huge problem, have the opinion of this isn't how it's supposed to be done. There's very specific parameters on how things should be run and things should be done. And that's simply just not the case. You know what I mean? Like, you know, things, again, we have to grow, we have to evolve. We've seen in the Bible, it talks about, you know what I mean, stoning people and not sleeping in the same house as your wife when she's on a period. You know what I mean? Like, I think you have to grow, you have to evolve. You know what I mean? And people a lot of times aren't willing to do that, which is hurtful.
So I thank you for that moment, John. First, Chrissy, thank you for asking that question, because I've never heard it put like that. So I've seen where, like, they asked Fantasia. You know, Fantasia take you gospel in a minute, and she, you know, everyone always asks her, you know, well, why don't you make a gospel album? And she said, because for me to make a gospel album, for me to reach that audience, I already have them. They already know Christ. But for me to sing, and then when I get somewhere and they book me, and then I sing my gospel song in the bar, it's going to bring that person to Christ that obviously they would not have been introduced to, or that they would not have been exposed to, I guess is the proper word.
Hey, you just want the music.
I know.
You may ask me all that.
Andrea hates when I call her Fanny too. That name is so old, but that's what she has.
That's what she sings like.
That's her name.
You know, that's like Snoop Dogg right now. You know what I mean?
People had a similar statement like that.
Snoop.
Yeah, we're listening. You said who made it say?
You know who had a similar statement? Who said that as well was Detroit Mama regular church. Saying something very similar to that, like, why did she, you know, when she first started out, of course, you know, her father being Franklin, you know, she felt that, well, of course, for, you know, for personal reasons, she felt it was more money, but at the same time, she felt like she could reach. She felt like her, the way that God gifted her, she could reach many people versus just extend audience.
Yeah.
And I think that, just like going back to the sister pastor, how certain people have a certain message that we deliver for a certain audience, and, you know, it just depends on, you know, what God gifted them with, and, you know, what they use with that particular gift. But, yeah, I mean, I just want to mention that, so that there's a lot of thinkers who grew up in the church, but they make a decision to, you know, to utilize their talent to, you know, a larger audience, because, you know, you never know who you may reach.
Absolutely. John has a follow-up.
I think something that we miss, or that either we ignore it or we just don't know, but we never realize how anything is ministering to a person.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of the delivery, regardless of what's being said or how it's coming out, it's ministering to people one way or another, whether it's positive or negative. So Fantasia, her genre, like what she's singing, like, you don't know how that's blessing someone. Like, you don't know, like for, like, say, maybe people who are singers, when they hear a song a certain way, like, it might touch them in a way that it never touches me. Like, 'cause all I hear is words. I'm not a singer. All I hear is the words. For them, they hear the notes, they hear the chords, they hear all of it. So that could be ministering them and bringing them closer to Christ. I don't know, and it's not my place to judge.
Yeah.
Whatever, I believe Jesus and God can use whatever he pleases.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for me to choose
Yeah.
what I want to do and how he wants to get his message spread. But at the end of the day, I believe that God can use whoever, however, whenever, wherever he pleases. Same God,
That's a word.
Same God used a donkey to get his message to a man. Same God used a burning bush to get his message to Moses. Same God said, if you won't cry out, I'll make the rocks cry out for you. Like, it doesn't matter what the vessel is or what's coming out of said vessel, as long as at the end of the day, Christ is being the judge. Period.
We'll put you E flat.
Okay, I have another post that I'm going to read. This one came from Zakia, another Central State University. She was like an admin when we went there, but she said, being asked, again, the question is, why don't people go to church, or why do people stop going to church? She said this was really interesting to me, because I feel like when you go to church, even though everyone is not social, you're supposed to be able to fellowship with your family. So she said that being asked to stand to introduce yourself when you're trying to see if you even want to come, or even want to come back for a second time. Pastors putting on a show for television more than they are delivering God's word. Not connecting the vision and practices of the church. Being asked for your pay stubs as far as your tithing ability.
I've seen that.
Same, Christy.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna talk about. We'll go to the tithing one in a minute. But I'm gonna talk about as far as being like asked to introduce yourself. My church. When people go to my church, my first lady, she'll call you up in a minute, and not call you up as in like to embarrass you, but like to welcome you. You know, come on up and give this person a hug, or stand right here while we sing with you, or Kyle is in the background, so she'll call me up in a minute. He comes to church and she'll call up the class.
Kyle is not getting in the pulpit of my church.
So we talk about all that stuff. But how do y'all feel about that? Like, how do y'all think that is? Does that push people away? Should it push people away?
I mean, I think that's just a preference thing. If that's not what you like, then don't go there. That's not like a make or break thing for me personally. That's not like a big deal. It is probably annoying. Like, I go to a church like, oh my God, I hope they don't ask me to stand up and say nothing. You know what I mean? Just because that's not something that I personally want to do. And even if I'm not the first, like, I really don't want to be in service any longer than I really need to be. You know what I mean? So do we really have to hear from these people, or can we have our welcoming committee go ahead on and talk to them about it? That's just more of a preference thing. You know what I mean? I don't think that's a make or break. You know what I mean? Like, that's not impacting anybody's salvation. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, not to me.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Okay, I'm on the other end of that.
Okay.
I think it does make or break people's salvation.
Really?
Absolutely. 'Cause I believe there's a psychology to church.
Definitely.
Like, especially as we progress over time. Man, we shouldn't be forcing people to give no welcome in 2018. Like we are so far past that.
When you say we shouldn't be forcing them to give a welcome, what do you mean? Like, we should encourage people to.
Okay, when you meet someone, like when how long have we known each other? For years, right?
For years,
right? Let's be honest. When's the first time we had a conversation? Just recently.
Maybe at Devontae wedding.
Just recently.
Yeah.
Like, so, but it took years before that
All
happened.
three of us was there, matter of fact.
All three? Yeah, we talked.
Yeah. At Devontae wedding.
It's a great one.
I just really believe that we're past that. And people don't need to give the welcome, hi, my name is Blase, I'm from so-and-so church. Listen, I just really don't think that that's necessary.
So you don't think that churches should do it?
No.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely not. I believe that as in today's church, our goal needs to just strictly be to make people feel welcome. And that's it.
Yeah.
Nothing more. Because how do I welcome?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And until I know, it's not fair for me to put them on the spot. It's just not fair. Like, so, like, I'm really big on we should be doing nothing more than ask for the stand. We welcome you, thank you for coming. Rest of the church, hey, go give our visitor a hug. And nothing more. And if they come back, now let's get to know you. Like, but listen, you're a visitor. You are visiting. You're trying to figure out if this is the place. Like, man, I don't want to give my social security number upon entry. Like, come on. No.
Again, I guess another light bulb moment. I never thought of it that way. So let's go to the tithing. What'd you say, Christian?